and how much more successful guy. He's really working so hard, and he's got businesses to run. And in many ways, I say, how do you do this? And, you know.
The deposition Donald Trump feared most has finally been ordered. Elon Musk, the world's richest man who claimed to be running a government department, is now being forced under oath to answer for what he did to one of America's most vital humanitarian agencies. And the judge just destroyed every excuse Musk's lawyers threw at the court. This is the beginning of accountability. Let's break down this explosive ruling. On February 5th, 2026, Federal District Judge Theodore D. Chuang in Maryland delivered a devastating blow to Elon Musk and the Trump administration. In a detailed legal order, Judge Chuang ruled that Elon Musk must sit for a deposition regarding his role in dismantling the United States Agency for International Development, known as USAID. This isn't just another lawsuit. This is about constitutional violations, separation of powers, and the question that's been haunting Washington for over a year. What the hell was DOGE, and who gave Elon Musk the authority to tear apart federal agencies? The judge's ruling was crystal clear. Musk tried to hide behind legal protections reserved for high-ranking government officials, but Judge Chuang saw right through it. The court stated, "It is at best unclear whether Musk, Morocco, and Lewin are properly deemed to be high-ranking government officials for purposes of the doctrine." The judge is saying, Elon, you weren't actually a government official. You were just a billionaire playing government, and now you have to answer for it. Let me explain something called the Apex Doctrine, because this is crucial to understanding why this ruling is so significant. The Apex Doctrine is a legal principle designed to protect the top executives and high-ranking government officials from being deposed in lawsuits unless there are extraordinary circumstances. The idea is simple. You can't just drag the CEO or a cabinet secretary into a deposition unless you've exhausted all other options and proven that only they have the information you need. Musk's lawyers tried to invoke this protection. They argued, don't depose Elon, he's too important, he's a high-ranking official. But here's where it gets beautiful. Judge Chuang examined the precedent. The court noted that even in cases where cabinet secretaries, actual Senate-confirmed officials were protected, their deputies and assistant secretaries were still required to testify. The judge wrote, USAID was not a cabinet-level agency. None of the designated officials were the head of that agency, and several were operating in an informal or acting role at the time of the relevant events. So what was Musk? He was the head of something called DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which wasn't even a real department. It was never created by Congress. It was never confirmed by the Senate. It was essentially a vanity project that Trump handed to his billionaire buddy. And here's the kicker. The Trump administration couldn't produce any documentary evidence of who made the key decisions to shut down USAID. The judge wrote, defendants failed to provide evidence addressing these issues in relation to certain key decisions, including the decision to shut down USAID headquarters and shut down the USAID website. The court continued, assuming that defendants complied with the court's order in good faith, they have effectively acknowledged that these orders were given orally with no documentary record, such that the only evidence on these questions would be the oral testimony of officials present when the decisions were made. Think about that. No emails, no memos, no official records, just Musk walking into agencies and verbally ordering them shut down like he was canceling a Twitter account. And now he has to testify under oath about it. Let's talk about what USAID actually was and what Musk's DOGE destroyed. The United States Agency for International Development was founded in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy. For over 6 decades, USAID has been America's primary foreign aid agency, working in more than 100 countries to provide humanitarian assistance, fight infectious diseases, combat hunger, and promote democracy. Here are the numbers that Elon Musk doesn't want you to know. According to a landmark study published in the Lancet Medical Journal in June 2025, USAID programs helped prevent more than 91 million deaths globally over the past 2 decades. That's 91 million human beings who are alive today because of American humanitarian aid. The study found that USAID saved approximately 4 to 5 million lives every single year. These were mothers saved from childbirth complications, children saved from preventable diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS, communities saved from famine and drought. USAID's PEPFAR program alone, the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, has saved over 25 million lives since 2003 and prevented millions of HIV infections. But in January 2025, Elon Musk, armed with zero expertise in international development, zero medical training, and zero understanding of diplomacy, decided USAID needed to be shut down. On February 2nd, 2025, Musk tweeted that President Trump agreed USAID needs to be shut down. Within days, USAID staff were locked out of their systems. The website went dark. Programs serving millions of vulnerable people around the world were abruptly terminated. Researchers at the Center for Global Development estimated that USAID cuts could lead to 490,000 lives lost per year from humanitarian and food aid disruptions alone. A subsequent study published in July 2025 projected that continued USAID funding cuts could lead to more than 14 million excess deaths by 2030, including 4.5 million children. By January 2026, 1 year after the shutdown, the ImpactCounter tracking system reported that 757,214 people, the majority children, had already died as a direct result of USAID funding cuts. 750,000 people dead because Elon Musk thought he knew better. But the deaths are only part of the story. This case is fundamentally about the Constitution of the United States. The lawsuit was brought by anonymous USAID employees identified only as John Does to protect them from retaliation, who alleged that Musk and DOGE violated the Appointments Clause of the Constitution and the constitutional principle of separation of powers. The Appointments Clause requires that principal officers of the United States be nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate. Elon Musk was never confirmed by the Senate. He was never formally appointed to any position. Yet he wielded extraordinary power over federal agencies. In March 2025, Federal District Judge Theodore Chuang issued a preliminary ruling that Musk and DOGE's dismantling of USAID likely violated the Constitution. The judge found that the Trump administration violated the separation of powers in the Appointments Clause by allowing an unconfirmed private citizen to effectively destroy a congressionally established federal agency. Judge Chuang ordered the Trump administration to restore USAID's functionality, but by then the damage was done. Contracts were terminated, staff were fired, people died. And through it all, Elon Musk faced zero accountability, no congressional testimony because MAGA controls Congress, no Justice Department investigation because Trump controls the DOJ, no media consequences because Musk controls X, formerly Twitter, and uses it to spread propaganda until now. This deposition is significant for several reasons, and legal experts are already calling it a potential turning point. First, Elon Musk is a terrible witness. Legal analysts consistently point out that billionaire CEOs who are used to getting their way make disastrous deposition witnesses. They're arrogant. They're unprepared. They think they're smarter than the lawyers questioning them. Remember Bill Gates' infamous deposition in the Microsoft antitrust case? The man who built Microsoft was utterly destroyed by Department of Justice attorney David Boies. Gates came across as evasive, argumentative, and dishonest. It was a PR disaster that damaged Microsoft's case irreparably. Elon Musk is even more volatile than Bill Gates. Musk publicly insults people. He makes wild claims. He tweets conspiracy theories. He fires people on a whim. Now imagine him under oath for hours, being cross-examined by skilled attorneys who have been preparing for months. Second, this creates a precedent for accountability. For the past year, the Trump administration has operated with complete impunity. They've violated norms, broken laws, and ignored court orders with no consequences. This deposition forces Elon Musk to sit in a room under oath and answer questions. He can't tweet his way out. He can't block his critics. He can't have his lawyers just refuse to show up. The judge has ruled you will be deposed. Third, this opens the door for discovery. During depositions, lawyers get to ask about documents, communications, and decision-making processes. If Musk lies, that's perjury. If he refuses to answer, that's contempt. If he reveals information that contradicts previous statements by Trump or other officials, that creates more legal exposure. Fourth, this could trigger more depositions. The judge's order also applies to other DOGE and State Department officials involved in dismantling USAID. Once Musk testifies, his statements can be used to compel testimony from others. And finally, this is happening while Democrats are positioning for the 2028 presidential election. If they retake Congress in 2026 or the White House in 2028, this deposition creates a roadmap for investigations, hearings, and potential prosecutions. Remember what DOGE was supposed to do? Trump and Musk promised that DOGE would cut government waste, reduce spending, and even give every American a $2,000 DOGE check from all the savings. None of it happened. Federal spending increased. The national debt grew, the deficit expanded, and American taxpayers got nothing except chaos, cruelty, and constitutional violations. By December 2025, just 11 months after it launched, DOGE quietly shut down, 8 months ahead of its original July 2026 deadline. The Trump administration claimed that efficiency remains a priority, but the reality is that DOGE was an abject failure. It destroyed vital programs. It caused humanitarian catastrophes. It violated the Constitution, and it accomplished nothing positive. But the legal consequences are just beginning. So what happens now? Elon Musk's deposition will likely be scheduled within the next few months. It will be conducted by attorneys representing the anonymous USAID employees who brought this lawsuit. The deposition will cover who authorized DOGE's actions, what legal authority DOGE believed it had, how decisions were made to shut down USAID, what communications occurred between Musk, Trump, and other officials, what Musk knew about the humanitarian consequences, why no documentary records exist. Every word Musk says will be recorded, transcribed, and can be used in future proceedings, including potential criminal investigations if Democrats retake power. This is the moment where the Trump regime's act first, apologize never strategy finally hits a legal wall. And here's the beautiful irony. Trump's own House Oversight Committee recently set the precedent by forcing Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton to testify about the Epstein files. If Democrats take the House in 2026, they now have Trump's own precedent to subpoena anyone, anytime, for anything. Trump handed them the weapon to investigate his entire administration. The law moves slowly, but it doesn't forget. Elon Musk thought he could play government, destroy agencies that save millions of lives, and face no consequences because he's a billionaire. But Judge Theodore Chuang just reminded him, in America, nobody is above the law. Not billionaires, not presidents, nobody. Elon Musk is going to be deposed under oath, on the record, and everything he says can and will be used against him and the Trump administration. This is accountability. Finally, If you want to stay informed about this case and every other legal battle holding the Trump regime accountable, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and share this video with everyone who needs to know that justice, however delayed, is still possible. The fight for democracy continues, and we're winning battles